So we've got the department's Elijah Mhlanga, who's also just come across this particular way, just to give us details, tell us about their reaction as a department to this particular strike and this protest action that's currently taking place. Elijah, thank you so much for coming through this way. Just your response as a department to what has been taking place. The community has been to 4 schools. They've let children out of school.
Well, it's really unfortunate that it has come to this point because the minister, the department has made it very clear that if you feel as a parent that you don't want to take your child to school, you can keep that child at home. Allow those that want to release their children to school to go to school. There are other options. There's home education, there's online learning, but there are also those that want to go to school. And we have seen that in the majority of schools around the country, learners have gone to school. Even in Gauteng, learners are going to school, even in the Western Cape and the Eastern Cape, where you see rising infections. Learners are going to school. Yes, everyone is being infected everywhere, by the way. So people are being infected at home, they're being infected in the shopping centers, they're being infected at work. That's what we need to do to comply with the health and safety measures that have been put in place. That's what we need to do. Let's not trample, let's not interfere with the rights of other people who want to see their children in school. Let's allow those people to exercise their right as well, while you also exercise your right to protest.
Now, this protest, they say that they'll be carrying on with this for the rest of the day. Is there any direction from the department as to what could possibly happen? We've seen a lot of people calling for schools to be closed following the increase in numbers.
Well, they can continue to protest as long as they don't disrupt learning and teaching. Because when you do that, the Schools Act is very clear that you are breaking the law. The law at some point will have to take its course. So we appeal to them to protest peacefully, but not interfere with the process of learning and teaching, because then you are entering a different space. If you are here and you feel that your child should not go to school, keep your child at home. But you yourself, make sure that you comply by sanitizing, washing your hands, keeping social distance. I'm not even sure if social distancing is being observed here in this protest. That's what we need to do, to make sure that we comply everywhere we are in everything that we are doing. That's what we need to be focusing on. How do we stop the spread of the coronavirus?
Elijah, while I still have you, do you have any numbers at the moment of schools that have had to shut down because of COVID-19 cases and those that are currently being deep cleaned?
No, the numbers are changing every day because you have schools that close for 3 days and they open again after decontamination has taken place. The numbers are changing, but the numbers remaining at about that number. It's about 1,000 or so of the schools around the country. Out of 24,000 schools, it's only about 1,000 that are affected. But even in those cases, yes, it's 1,000 too much. It's 1,000 too much. But when we look at those cases, we find that it's actually the parents who found the virus somewhere at work and they bring it back home. And their children are playing in the streets without supervision. That is what is happening in the streets. Yes, you keep the child away from school, but in the school, they're protected. There's sanitizing, there's monitoring in terms of social distancing, there's a mask, there's screening every day. So they are in a structured environment. So that's where we are now. We are saying rather comply with the safety requirements rather than cause disruptions in schools.
And just finally, there were calls just now from Majid that the minister must come to Eldorado Park. Any plans of that sort?
The minister right now is in a meeting with the public protector. As I'm speaking to you now, I had to step outside of that meeting myself. But earlier this morning, the minister had a meeting with all MECs of education who all condemned this disruptive behavior, where people are going school to school to disrupt learning and teaching. So there's uniform approach in terms of condemning this behavior of people going to schools to stop learning and teaching from taking place.
All right, thank you so much. Elijah Mhlanga, he's the spokesperson for the Department of Basic Education, just giving us details on the side, of course, from the Basic Education Department. Till us, back to you.
All right, thank you for that. That's Elijah Mhlanga live for us from Eldorado Park.